Hello, welcome back to the Corporate Burnouts. Hey, Mandy, how are you?
Doing so good. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. Happy to be back in front of the computer after a really great holiday weekend. How was your Easter?
Yeah, it was so good. It was so good. We had a lot of good um family time this weekend.
Yeah.
So Brody just started tennis for his
Mm-hmm.
second year.
I know.
He
I
had
see
his
your
first.
shirt
I know. I'm a tennis mom.
representing.
Tennis bonus mom. So I love watching tennis. We just learned last year about it. Like I had
Yeah.
never had anything to do with tennis before, but it's fun to watch. I really like it. And but so we celebrated his first tennis matches last week, his first job. He just got a job as a host at Texas Roadhouse. And so that's been fun to just, like he has to learn how to line dance and he has to,
Yeah.
um,
Okay. So I'm going to interrupt you really
yeah.
fast because I find it very interesting that both of us had a corporate career at Texas Roadhouse.
Hmm.
And now I have two kids and you have one that all work at Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like a rite of passage. It's in the blood. You
Hmm.
have to go through it. Like,
Yeah. Well, and
so
truly,
funny.
I think that everyone needs to work at a restaurant at
I
some point,
agree.
like, and I see that take on social media all the time. Like everyone needs to work at a restaurant. I think that everyone should have to because then you understand customer service, you understand
Yeah.
how to, how to treat people when you go out to eat, you know.
It definitely teaches a level of respect of being on the other side of it
Hmm.
when you've
Yeah.
had to be the one to either be yelled at or,
Hmm.
deal with that conflict resolution
Hmm.
in that public space
Yep.
makes you a better human on the other side of it. And that's really, really important. I'm glad that our kids are experiencing that.
Yeah, but I love it for that it's a great place to work as a teenager, like they love it. So I think it's fantastic. So we were celebrating that on
Yeah.
Friday and then obviously we had Easter with the family and so yeah, it was a fun-filled family weekend. We got a lot of good stuff done around here, it was one of those great weekends. How was your Easter?
Good. Very much the same. Lots of family time. We only really did the family thing on Sunday. We drove in to my dad's house, which,
Hmm.
of course, as you know, having lost my mom a year ago, my dad finally sold their place and got his
Hmm.
own place. And this is the first time that I'd been there. And I wasn't worried about it. I think he was worried about it, about
Hmm.
like how it would feel,
Yeah.
because it's not mom's
Mhm.
house. And I was
Yep.
like, my heart was so happy and full of joy. Like, he could not have found a better place. It's
Mhm.
all set up the way that it should be. It's small enough and manageable, but it's far enough out and still big enough for him to feel like he has his own space. Like it just couldn't be more
Yeah.
perfect. We did a crawfish boil,
Ooh,
which
I love
made
that.
my kids so happy. I mean, it made all
Mhm.
of us happy, but Paisley could eat her weight in shellfish. So
Mhm.
that was really great. Got to see Juniper and do the Easter bunny and all
Yep.
that good stuff. So,
So
yeah, it
fun.
was really, really great. But what I found really interesting is, especially coming off of Easter 3 years ago on my drive home, I was right in that place of like knowing that I needed to leave Texas Roadhouse
Mhm.
um, eh, for all of the travel and all the things. But I had that, like, ongoing to-do list in my head of, like, the Sunday scaries of, like, where do I have to be tomorrow? What do I need to get done before I go? Like, all the things, and I just don't have that anymore, and being 3 years removed from it is liberating, to say the very least.
Mhm.
I got to see my family, and now I'm gonna go home and have, like, a normal week.
Yeah.
However, being in the passenger seat of that truck on the drive home with Chase getting ready to go back, and he had a 10 a.m. flight today. So it
Mhm.
was the rundown of the to-do list of all the things that had to happen. And this morning, scrambling through that list to make sure that everything that had to be done here was done before he left. He's on a conference call while he's shoving things in a backpack, and a like energy
Mhm.
bar out of his
Yeah.
mouth at the same time and like running like a chicken. And I'm watching him like, I am so glad this isn't me because right now all I have to do is make sure that the front of my hair looks good for this podcast. Like I'm good. And I'm not even kidding you. Like I got look, what is it? The back
None of
of
your
my
business.
head
Yeah.
is none of my business.
No.
Not even one tiny bit. So
No. No. So we
I
obviously
don't care.
we we definitely deal with that. Can you see my extensions?
Oh yeah, you
Not
got a
all the
good little
way.
curl.
Yeah. So those are permed. And so sometimes they lay down with the flat iron and sometimes they don't like it as much. But the back of my hair, none of my business. I don't know what happens back there.
Yeah.
I
Well,
try
it's
my
really
hardest.
funny too, because the way we have the office set up right now, you can see like
Mhm.
his setup is behind me.
Mhm.
So if he's on a call, all they see is the back of my head. My back of my head is on display back there.
It's their business, just not
However,
yours.
yeah, it's apparently, I don't know, maybe it's a topic of conversation
Maybe they're
for
like,
him.
"Geez,
It's
why didn't she do the back of her hair?"
not my problem.
No, it's
So this
not.
morning, I'm like,
Mm.
okay, the front of my hair is good. He's out the door. But I got to thinking about it and I'm like, loyalty to a company, like we put in
Mhm.
so many years at Texas Roadhouse. And I don't want to say that like it's just this horrific thing because it was a hell of an experience.
Mhm.
All of it, from the time that we were the teenagers, like
Mhm.
Paisley and Peyton and Brody, all of them
Mhm.
like living their best life, making a couple of bucks. Um, those were some of my favorite times in life. Like that was the
Oh, it was so
best
fun.
job.
Yeah, it was
And it
so fun.
turned into something meaningful and that taught me a lot, got me where I'm at. I by no means um regret it, but there is that aspect of it where it was like we were so dang loyal to Texas Roadhouse for all of the great things, but it's like at what point is loyalty to a company kind of a flaw in your career path, right?
Well, and that is an excellent question, and we've touched on this throughout the podcast of,
Mhm.
um, we worked there. I was there for 18 years, you were there for 20 years, is that
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
So, and my plan was to retire from there, right?
Yeah.
At one point, obviously, things, became a little bit more messy as the ladder shrunk, like, and it
Yeah.
became it was like the things at the top of the ladder are actually not things that I want. That
Mhm.
makes it a little bit harder, because I couldn't have done the job that we were in until retirement.
Right.
But, um, but it's interesting because I I was taught that you go and find a company and you make a career there and you are loyal and you stay and they take care of you and then you retire. And because both of my parents, I mean, my mom owned her own business, but you know, they were like, you just find one thing and you go and get really good at it and you do it until it's time to stop working. And I think that that used to be a really good plan. And I just don't
Well,
think that it might be
yeah.
as much anymore.
Yeah, and I think that we've, to your point, we have talked about this several times as it pertains to other topics. But the part I think that we've missed on that is like, why did that shift? Why did that used to be the way of things and now it's not? And the more I think about it, and even like ask my friend over on ChatGPT, like, why? What happened? What's different?
Hmm.
Um, the opportunities for pensions and that sort of thing, like that's kind of a way of the past. Like generations before us didn't really have the option but to try to obtain some kind of loyalty to a company to get to that tenure where their future was like
Set. Hmm.
secured,
Yeah.
Absolutely. That loyalty was financial security. And I think that times have really shifted on that to where that loyalty now may actually be costing us money.
Yeah. And we've seen that, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't think I have ever said this explicitly, but I got offered a very small raise the last year and I was
Mhm.
like, I can't we like I think that that is the final straw. And I obviously went and started a business, but if I'd gone to a different business, I I would have gotten a huge raise. Like, with the experience that I came in with,
Yeah.
I probably would have gotten a a lot
It's
more money.
definitely possible.
Yes.
Definitely
Well, it's
possible.
what I would have been looking for too, but
Right. Yeah,
yes.
you would have been seeking that out.
Yeah.
Um, but I think now that company loyalty, you know, might be costing us financially for
Mhm.
sure. But I think the loyalty isn't always two-sided
Yeah, it's not
anymore.
reciprocated
Yeah.
completely, right?
Like corporations are loyal to their bottom line and layoffs are going to happen so much faster than they used to. Restructures and mergers and things like we didn't experience any of that, right? Like I'm not
No,
claiming
but it
to have.
happens all the time.
Yeah, budget
Mhm.
cuts are a real thing
Mhm.
in the corporate life.
Mhm.
Um but that loyalty isn't always reciprocated, so it is kind of risky to keep all your eggs in one basket anymore.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that, going back to you saying that it's not always a two-way street on the loyalty,
Mhm.
I I think that good bosses are always going to try and be loyal to their people, right?
Yeah.
And but it's not always up to them, and it is a business, right?
Yeah.
So loyalty is should be reserved, in my opinion, for friendships, relationships, personal relationships, because
Not to
when
an entity.
yeah, well, because they can't help but not be if something changes. The cost of goods is through the roof right now. So, yeah, it's making them lay people off. It's making them cut budgets, right?
Yeah.
And there's greed, which we won't go into today. But there are a lot of things that go into it, and you can't expect them to be loyal to you because they have to be loyal to the bottom line and their shareholders. And
Yeah.
so how can you expect, you know, to be and out of the 50,000 people who work there and so many other factors, it's just we have to be loyal to ourselves first is I
Yeah,
think what I take from this. Yeah.
I think we have to be loyal to our own growth more
Mhm.
so than a company. And
Mhm.
if your growth, whether it's creatively in your skill sets, or in your finances, if all of that stuff, if you're checking all the boxes, great. There's nothing wrong per se with loyalty if it's done for the right reasons. But
Mhm.
I think a lot of people they stay not necessarily out of true loyalty. I think it's loyalty dressed up as fear. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Fear dressed up as loyalty
Mhm.
because, the financial instability or not knowing how many times have you heard the grass ain't greener on the other side? Like, that's a fear tactic.
Yeah. Mhm.
There are other jobs, there are other companies that are probably fantastic to work for, or at least as good as what you've got now,
Mhm.
right? Um, there's money to be made. And a healthy amount of fear is fine. Okay. Like, I'm not saying you should just be all willy nilly about your career, but
Right.
if you are paralyzed out of fear and staying where you're at because of that, like, I don't know that I would call that healthy.
Right.
And
But the
staying where you're
grass
at,
yeah.
yeah,
The grass might be greener on the other side,
yeah,
and you have to find out. You have to be willing to find out, I think,
yeah,
because yes, that is a thing that people tell you. The grass might not be greener on the other side, but it's like, are you going to just believe or do you want to go check it out for yourself?
yeah,
You don't have to leave to find out. You do
yeah.
need to always be open to finding it, I think.
And I will say in our time in corporate, I myself had some really fantastic leaders that were not just great leaders for the company, but great leaders in the way of helping me discern what a healthy career future looks like. Like,
Mhm.
they encouraged me. I had many leaders encourage me, like, never stop looking for your next job. How do you know if you're happy where you're at if you don't know what your options are?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
somebody wants to, interview you for something, like, check it out. Weigh
Mhm.
it up against what it is that you currently have. And hopefully where you're at is still the better option. But you'd be crazy not to explore your opportunities. And
Absolutely.
I think that those leaders in particular knew that Texas Roadhouse was a great company, and they were banking on the fact that, oh yeah, let me send you on this interview, or, let you go explore what your opportunities are so that you will see how great you have it here, and
Mhm.
it will reinforce how much you want to stay. And that worked. It did work for me because
Mhm.
I did explore opportunities, and every time it was like, "Ooh, no. Ugh, no." And then
Mhm.
after a while, there were just things that were unavoidable that really had nothing to do with corporate or Texas Roadhouse or whatever. I just needed a different lifestyle.
Mhm.
But I had to jump even in the fear.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is. The fear is the big problem for most
Mhm.
people. It's just like a relationship. You can't
Yeah.
know what the future will look like outside of this relationship. You do know how you manage this relationship though that you're in,
Yeah.
and you generally weigh out, like, is this a life that I want to live, or is it worth jumping to see, like,
Yeah.
any grass has got to be greener than this kind of thing. But I I encourage people to figure out if the loyalty is worthwhile to you when it comes
Mhm.
to money, when it comes to opportunity, when it comes to your own growth. And think about it. Is it fear that's holding you back, or is it loyalty that's keeping you there? Because they're two very different things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you are growing and you're being challenged, if you're being compensated fairly, if your company's culture aligns with your own core values, if leadership is really investing you, there's a lot of telltale signs where it's like, okay, I'm in alignment with the
Mhm.
current company and role that I'm in. That's what we should be looking at. Where's
Mhm.
my growth at? What am I getting from this job? Not just what am I giving to this job? And if all those boxes are checked, then I think loyalty can be a superpower. I think it looks fantastic on a resume that you're not a job hopper.
Mhm.
However, if you're staying somewhere that you're not being fed and you're just constantly giving to the company, it could be to your detriment for
Right.
sure.
Is it blind loyalty, or have you weighed it out and you're like,
Yes.
they deserve my loyalty? That is a huge question.
Mhm.
And I love what you said about, are you being fed? Are you growing? Because let's just say, just like that horrible relationship that you were in for way too long, and you're like, I wasted those years, right? I always say
Yeah.
you didn't ever waste years in a relationship, because you learned stuff and you grew, and now you know what you want going forward. You just have to build the life that you want. It's never too late, blah, blah, blah. I feel the same about this. If you are not growing in your situation, you're shooting yourself in the foot for your next opportunity.
Yeah.
So make sure that you are paying attention to that, because if you're loyal to somebody who is not growing you in any way, you won't be
Mhm.
ready for that next opportunity. You
Yeah,
need to go now,
absolutely.
because no one's helping you.
I want to talk through, like, very specifically, like, what are some signs that people should be watching out for to determine if that loyalty is maybe being taken advantage of? And the first thing that really comes to mind for me is, like, if you haven't really had any kind of meaningful pay raise in a while. I know that we got to that point where I was like, really? That's where we're at?
Well, yeah,
Okay.
the world costs more than I am
Yeah.
getting, increased in pay. That is a pay decrease at the end of the day.
Yeah, losing money on the whole deal.
Mhm.
Um, I struggle with that aspect of things because on one hand, it's like, I'm doing the same job. I'm doing the same job. Why do I need some substantial pay raise? But I also was a lot faster and a lot more efficient, and like there was a lot of benefits
Mhm. You were
in
getting
that.
more work done overall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and had more responsibility by the time that I left.
Mhm.
I mean, light years differently than when I
Mhm.
started, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, eh, but my pay reflected that too. It just, at a certain point, it does become stagnant
Mhm.
because to your point, that ladder that we were climbing, the next rung on that ladder was pretty small, and
Mhm.
it was gonna fit a lot less people,
Mhm.
and when I was on that ladder looking up going, "I don't even wanna be there. What am I doing? That's just gonna bring me more of what I don't want, but I'm already kind of at the top of the food chain of the level that I'm at,
Mhm.
so what are we doing here?" And I think that it's that point where people have to really get honest with themselves. But, like, if you are training people that are being promoted over you and everybody is just passing you by like
Mhm.
you're in the slow lane on the highway, that's probably a red flag that you need to be looking somewhere else. You might be in misalignment.
Mhm. I mean, I think it happens a lot because I have seen a lot of people through the years who are so good at what they do, but
Mhm.
the next step of the ladder is management, and not everybody is made for management, and not everybody wants to manage people. They
Yeah.
might think that they do, but they just want to be bigger and better in the thing that they're already good at, not
Yep.
a full job shift. And that is something to think about. I think that a lot of people don't leave and, call themselves loyal, but are scared, right? They don't leave because they don't want to do a lateral shift. They don't want to
Yeah.
just go take that leap and do the same thing over somewhere
Mhm.
else. But what I think is if you are not completely happy in what you're doing, if you don't see any room for growth here, you could go do that lateral jump and be on that next step of the ladder really fast at a different company because their ladder works differently.
Yeah, because
It's
it just
not
looks
just,
different somewhere
yeah, it's
else.
not just straight to management. The next step is maybe there's 3 steps in there with pay raises, with more responsibility that might fit you so much better. But again, it is scary to jump, and you could find a lateral move that is more money and a little bit, maybe even the exact same responsibility, but with more room for growth.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think and this was a big light bulb moment for me in deciding to leave a fantastic company
Mhm.
after 20 years was like how quickly I was replaced. If
Yeah.
a company can replace you after 2 weeks,
Mhm.
you do not owe them a decade. Like, truly, you don't. So you have to be loyal to your own growth and your own career path. And if those things are in alignment, then that loyalty is a really great thing for you. If it's not, you're just like making life easy on them and not getting anything out of it. And that's really
Yep.
not doing anything for your own personal growth.
Yeah. Well, and just your happiness and so many other things. I think that what I take from this conversation really is that you just have to take care of yourself and give people respect, but keep the loyalty for you and
Yeah.
what it will bring to your life, and be loyal to your family and your personal life too, because it's not all about work. I I was not bitter when I left.
Mhm.
I had seen the truth about the loyalty that was given back to me, right? I felt like I
Mhm.
had been very loyal to the company, and I felt like no one asked me to stay. Nobody, and possibly they just had already seen the writing on the wall that I was like, mm-mm, I'll be done here. I didn't expect to be offered more money. I didn't expect, like, and I also didn't tell them that it was about the very low raise. But
'Cause that was just a straw. It
yeah,
was
it was
not
just a
really
straw.
the full problem.
No,
Yeah.
the problem was that I needed to get off the road quickly,
Yeah.
like I was all done. But I I saw that the loyalty wasn't there. It is hard though when you watch them replace you with 3 people, right? And my straw was the raise. But when you think about how much they paid
3
to,
people?
yeah, it's, It's interesting, you know?
Even an entry-level salary for 3 people
Mhm,
would have been more money than a substantial raise that they could have given you and gotten more out of you.
mhm.
It's
I think
wild
that
to think
overall
about.
yeah, I think that overall, it would have been probably between a 70 and 100% raise that they could have given me, but that wasn't sustainable to have one person doing that amount of work,
Yeah, right.
and
It wouldn't have been good for you anyway.
well, no, it wouldn't have been good for me, but it isn't the direction that they should have been continuing to go because it just you do need more people to be really effective in a traveling, like whenever you're trying to
Yeah.
handle that many locations. So I saw that that would be good. Like I wanted them to grow in that direction and have more people doing the job with a little bit less to do. But it's interesting because I am absolutely not bitter now. I think I was a little bit bitter then of like I had that loyalty and you had none, right?
Well,
A
but there's a
one-sided
clear distinction
relationship.
here.
Mhm.
Like, hold on a second, because you said something earlier about loyalty should be reserved for your relationships,
Mhm.
for actual people.
Mhm.
Like, you were loyal to a company that doesn't have thoughts, feelings, and no capabilities of having loyalty in return.
Mhm.
What happened was you were loyal to a company, but leaders were not loyal to you.
Right.
And that's not the same thing.
Mhm.
The company did not let you down.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
company was the company, and they paid you for the job that you did. They
Mhm.
they, fulfilled the agreement between the company and Mandy.
Mhm. Yeah. You're right. So it
So,
was the leaders. Yes,
it's
and
the
I agree.
loyalty
Mhm.
from the people. It's the people in the decision-making positions that, you know, those relationships are very, very, very important when it comes to the longevity of your career in a particular company. And in our case, those roles had kinda turned a couple of times. We went through a lot of,
Yeah.
change in that leadership, and I say a lot of, I think in the grand scheme of things, not very much change, right?
Mhm.
Like, based on
Yeah.
the way you could compare it to other companies and how fast things
Mhm.
move, probably not, but from our experience, it was like those positions were the same for a very long time, and then all of a sudden, there was, like, a lot of movement,
Mhm.
and with that movement shifted the people being in charge were not the people who sought us out, invested in us,
Mhm.
really saw the potential. We were shifted and maybe inherited by
Mhm.
other people that really were looking at it from that business perspective. They
Yeah.
were accountable to results and efficiency and all the things rather than feeling that emotional pull of what they had invested in an actual human.
Yeah. No, that's fair. But also, I think that we were also inherited by people who didn't get to make those decisions,
Yeah,
you know? And
100%.
that's
They
really
didn't get to
hard.
choose
Mhm.
their team,
Mhm.
and
Well, or they didn't get to choose if I got a raise. That was not their
right,
decision,
yeah,
like, that was somebody else's decision. So, either way, that's just my dumb experience, but I I
it's not dumb.
do wanna talk about the difference in the raises that you will get staying with a company, right? The
Yeah,
small 1 to, maybe 6% raises that you will get.
yep.
And the difference if you go somewhere else where they just have a whole different budget and a whole different view of everything that you could be making a lot more by job
Mhm.
hopping a little bit.
So, I heard this called the loyalty tax, and I found that so freaking fitting that thinking about the statistics, okay, people who switch jobs statistically get about 6.4% of an average raise
Okay.
just by switching jobs.
Mhm.
People who stay, it's about 4.5%. And based on our experience, that's not bad,
Mhm.
right? 4.5%,
Yeah.
that's at least on the high end of what that normal scale looks like. So
Mhm.
on average, but by leaving, you can get 6.4%. If you think about that, over 5 years, that gap can grow you like $10,000 to $15,000 a year. I mean, obviously, depending on what your starting salary looks like, but
Mhm.
um, it can cost you thousands of dollars over time to just stay in one spot. And
Mhm.
that's not emotional. That's just math.
It is math. And sometimes that's worth it, right? You love your job. And so money
Yeah.
isn't the most important thing. Stick around. But are you being loyal just to the company? Maybe that's not going to pay off for you.
Yeah.
If you're staying and it doesn't light you up inside and it doesn't do all the things that a job can do for you, don't
Hmm.
stay just to stay because you could be making money somewhere else. A little bit more of it.
I have another stat for you. Are you ready?
I love it.
And this is according to Forbes. So, citing sources. Job hoppers saw 35% salary growth over 3 years. Okay. And this is as of like 2025. So 35% over 3 years when tenured employees saw 18%. So nearly double the growth for people who went to another company versus those who remained loyal right where they were.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's super insane, but it makes complete sense to me. Like,
Yeah.
I truly and the job hoppers probably had more growth when it comes to their skill set and all of those things because they are just seeing different ways of doing business
Yeah,
and
because
being
they have
given
to get
different
comfortable.
responsibilities. Yeah.
They have to get comfortable being outside of their comfort zone. And
Mhm.
sometimes people, I think, we did talk about this. Fear keeps people in the role, but I think
Mhm.
also comfort
Yeah.
really does. Like their relationships, the ebbs and flows, your routine, like all of that
It's so
is a
simple.
really
Mhm.
it's a really strong reason to stay right
Mhm.
where you're at. Let's just don't upset the apple cart. But
Yeah.
when you do, when you live in a perpetual state of change, you're growing all of the time because you don't let yourself get comfortable.
Mhm. Yeah. So I'll bring this up again. We've talked about this once. We had someone join our department um a, a long time ago and she's still there, which I thought that she would be in and out based on we were told that she had worked at this company for just a couple of years and before that at this company. And I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, I wonder why they would want somebody who clearly like kind of
Yeah, who
hops
has
around."
that path?
Mhm.
Weird.
And and again, that's the kind of brainwashing of loyalty over everything, you know? And she came in and she made a bunch of changes and I figured that she would kind of get the department in line and then she would probably be out again. She needed her
Yeah.
challenge, she needed to do what she came to do and then she would go and get more money somewhere else. And she didn't. She stayed. You know, she was obviously job hopping looking for the right space for herself. um but there was nothing wrong with what she was doing. That's the
Yeah.
biggest part of
We
it. There
were
was
judging her based on her career past that was obviously decorated
yes. Mhm.
and well-rounded and varied, and we were all like, "How many companies have you worked for? Why do we want that person?"
Mhm. And it's because she went and collected a lot of good skills and experience everywhere. The problem is how we were raised and the fact that once you get into corporate, you're kind of indoctrinated into this is a place that you need to be. There's no need to
Mhm.
go anywhere else. And so we did judge and we there wasn't somebody within the department that could have done what she did. All right. They would have
No.
done a great job, I'm sure, but they didn't have that new vision for taking this in the direction that it needed to go.
Yeah,
That's
fresh
just
eyes.
yes. And that's what I'm saying about when you feel like you need to be loyal to a company and you feel like it would be scary to go somewhere else. I'd probably just run into the same issues somewhere else that I'm having here. You need to go. You never know what kind of fresh eyes based on the experience that you've gotten that you could bring to them. And now you're the superstar who's getting all the money and all of the promotions.
Yeah, because you changed everything for
Yeah.
them just
Mhm.
by having a fresh perspective.
Yes. So, anyway, if you are sitting there going, I might have overstayed my time here, but I've been scared to go, start looking. It's not easy to find a job right now, I'm sorry to say, but
Yeah.
start looking because someone might be looking for your exact skill set, and just keep your options open, right? Loyalty is not, I'm not here to like scare anyone, but it's not serving everyone like it once did.
Yeah, it's
And
not a necessary part of your career anymore. I
yeah,
really want people to shift their attention from loyalty to alignment.
mhm,
Are you
I
still
love
in
that.
alignment with where you are at?
Mhm,
Never mind this company.
mhm,
Are you getting what you need where you're at? And if the answer is yes, great, keep on a trucking.
yeah,
If you have doubts, check out what's out there.
mhm,
And you don't have to just quit tomorrow. You can go explore and open your mind to the possibilities. See what's going on out in the world. Do a little research. We used to do industry insights all the
mhm,
time in
yeah,
our role to just to know what's going on in other companies in the same industry, and that was very, very helpful for me to feel like, you know, okay, I'm still at the best place. This is still really good. Or like, oh wow, there's other opportunities out there. Like, do a little research, get out there, because
mhm,
there may be a seat on another bus that is better than the seat you're fulfilling on the current one.
I agree.
And just so you know, 76% of people who switched got a 6% raise. So it never hurts to look. Just
Mhm,
go explore, see what your
yeah,
options are, and then gut check your alignment. Are you where you should be? And if not, see what your
mhm,
options are. You might actually gain financially because of it.
yeah. Yeah, and personally, right? We've all been in the relationship
Yeah.
that you're like, "This relationship is good," right? And then it doesn't
Or
work
good
out.
enough.
Yeah, good enough. It doesn't work out for some reason, and then you find a relationship that you're like, "Dude, this is what relationships are," you know?
Yeah.
Like,
This is way better.
yeah, and you just never would have gone looking for it because you had something that was good enough,
Yeah.
and you didn't know what it was actually supposed to feel like. So just think about it. We're not asking
Hmm.
people to leave their jobs and at all. But like Mandy said, just make sure you're aligned with where you're at because there might be more money or the more perfect job
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Or, and here's the flip side of this whole thing. If you have doubts and you do go exploring and you're not finding something better than where you're at, that is just, I mean, for me, this happened to me for a long time. That should just reinforce to you that you really do have a great thing
Hmm.
right where you're at.
Yeah.
It does not hurt you in the least bit to go smell the grass on the other side,
Hmm.
check the color, whatever. Whatever makes
Smell
sense
the
on that, but,
grass.
like, go check it out, because if it's not greener, then stay where you're at and
Yeah.
feel so good and secure that you're where you need to be. If it
Hmm.
is, mm, maybe it's time to go check it out.
Hmm. Yeah. And then my only other advice about this is, if you can tell your boss that you are sniffing out this other grass, right?
Mhm.
Um, if you can't, then be discreet because I would hate if you blew up something that might be really good for you because of our advice, because you never know how people are going to react when they find out that you are
Yeah.
looking, right? If they flip out because you're looking, they are not the place for you, I
I
would
was gonna
say.
say that's a red flag,
That's a
but
big red flag, but they're the ones who are paying you right now. So just keep it
mhm.
in mind. Maybe you don't put it out on Facebook that you're looking.
Yeah, makes sense.
Hmm.
I feel like we could beat this dead horse
Yeah.
forever because I
Hmm.
feel really passionately about this, having been that loyal employee for a really long time. No regrets there. I think that it served me very, very well from the outside looking in. It looks like it did that for you too, got us where we are. But
Hmm.
I really, really appreciate the leaders in my life that poured into that instinct to always be on the lookout of what other opportunities might
Hmm.
work out for you. And I'm really grateful that even though I was scared shitless, I
Mhm.
had the courage to jump when I knew the time was right. So I can only hope the best, the same for other people that are in that boat to just determine if you are where you're meant to be. I think it's a daily gut check we have to stay on top of.
For sure. For sure. Well, I liked having this conversation, and I hope that somebody gets something out of it, whether it's I am
Yeah.
actually in the spot where I'm supposed to be. I'm not blindly loyal. My eyes are wide
Yeah.
open on my loyalty, and it is deserved, or my
Yeah.
loyalty is not deserved here, and I just needed someone to kick me in the butt to say, "Go see what else is going on."
Yeah. Am I serving my company or is my company serving me? If
Yeah.
it's not a two-way street, that is not healthy loyalty. So
Mhm.
do
Yeah.
with that what you will, guys.
Yeah.
And we will see y'all next week.
Yes. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.